From free energy to anti-gravity machines.
Discover the forbidden inventions.
Imagine a world where groundbreaking inventions disappear, not because they failed, but because they were too powerful.
This flying saucer-like machine was designed
By a forgotten genius to achieve anti-gravity flight and speeds beyond imagination, using limitless clean energy.
Instead of praise, the inventor was silenced and the machine
Disappeared. Some say governments saw it as a threat, while others blame powerful industries protecting their profits. Whatever the reason, the technology was buried and its inventor was forgotten, leaving us to wonder, what were they afraid of?
This is just one invention that disappeared, but it wasn't the only one.
Around the world, other groundbreaking technologies were silenced before they could change history. Let's explore. Imagine a world without power lines or tangled cables, where lights, phones, and cars operate without wires.
Over a century ago, Nikola Tesla believed this was possible and began working on it in 1901.
Tesla built the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island,
A massive structure designed to transmit electricity wirelessly over vast distances.
Energy would float invisibly through the air, accessible to everyone for free.
But before Tesla's dream became a reality, his funding was cut, and the tower was dismantled.
Here's where things get suspicious. Tesla's main investor, JSB Morgan, pulled the plug when he realized wireless energy meant no meters, no profits, and no control. Some believe energy monopolies conspired to bury Tesla's work because it threatened their empire. Others claim Tesla's notes and blueprints were seized and hidden in secret vaults. What if Tesla's vision wasn't just forgotten, but stolen?
The ruins of Wardenclyffe still stand today, a painful reminder of a future we never had.
In the late 19th century, an inventor named John Ernest Worrell Keely stunned the world
with a device that defied explanation, known as the Keely motor.
This machine was said to harness an unknown force, which Keely described as etheric energy, to produce limitless mechanical energy. Imagine a motor that runs without fuel or steam, yet operates with incredible efficiency. In public demonstrations,
Keely's machine lifted massive loads and powered complex machines, leaving crowds and scientists speechless.
But as Keely's fame grew, so did doubts. Some accused him of fraud, while others feared he was tapping into a power better left untouched. The story took a mysterious turn. Keely never revealed the full workings of his motor.
And after his death in 2008, the device vanished. Some say the oil, coal, and manufacturing industries saw his invention as a threat and moved quickly to suppress it. Was Keely a genius whose discovery was too dangerous for the world, or was he simply a flashy showman? One thing is certain, the Keely motor disappeared, along with the promise of limitless clean energy
that could have reshaped history.
In the 1970s, a man named Stanley Meyer developed a motor
that could run on water. Yes, water. Meyer's technology split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using electrolysis, creating a fuel-efficient system where cars could travel hundreds of kilometers using just a liter of water.
The implications were staggering. No gasoline, no emissions, no reliance on oil.
Meyer demonstrated his water fuel cell to investors and the media, sparking excitement and skepticism.
But as his achievements gained momentum, things turned dark.
Meyer suddenly died in 1992
after meeting with investors.
The official cause of death was a brain aneurysm, but his brother swore he had been poisoned.
Critics dismissed his fuel cell as a scam. But what if it wasn't?
What if Meyer's invention posed a massive threat to the trillion-dollar oil industry today?
His water-powered car remains an unsolved mystery and a symbol of progress halted in its tracks.
While Meyer's water-powered car promised freedom from fossil fuels, another breakthrough emerged in energy in the 1980s. Cold fusion, unlike the fiery temperatures of traditional nuclear fusion, was a low-energy process claimed to produce massive amounts of clean, unlimited energy. It was first announced in 2009 by electrochemist Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons,
who stunned the world by claiming to have discovered a cheap and safe way to harness nuclear energy in a lab.
For a moment, the world held its breath.
If cold fusion succeeded, it would end the energy crisis, reduce pollution, and eliminate our dependence on coal, oil, and gas.
But things quickly fell apart. Mainstream scientists failed to replicate their results, and both men were ridiculed, effectively destroying their careers. Conspiracy theories swirled. Did energy companies bury cold fusion research? Were governments afraid of its consequences? Even today, whispers about cold fusion continue, and labs around the world quietly experiment with it, intermittently claiming success.
Were Fleischmann and Pons right all along? Is cold fusion one of the greatest discoveries ever?
Suppressed, the truth remains elusive, like energy itself.
But one thing is clear. When humanity gets too close to an unlimited energy source, there are forces that prefer we don't touch it.
But what if we could store the contents of an entire library on a single disk?
This is the claim of Janusz Slot, the Dutch inventor who developed what he called the slot system for digital encoding.
In the late 1990s, Slot promised to compress data in a revolutionary and efficient way that could store an entire movie in just 7 kilobytes.
Imagine the consequences: instant file transfer, unlimited storage, and the technological leap that could
make today's cloud systems obsolete. Slot presented his invention to investors. The demonstrations were astonishing. It seemed impossible at first, but it succeeded.
However, before the deal was completed, a tragedy struck. On July 1st, 1999, just one day before he was supposed to deliver his encryption source code, Jan Slot suddenly died from a heart attack, and the encryption system he created disappeared with him.
With it, the possibility of revolutionizing the digital age vanished. Was it just a coincidence? Or did Slot's invention threaten the interests of powerful forces?
To this day, conspiracy theorists claim that his breakthrough in encryption did not disappear, but was buried. We are still forced to live in the shadow of what could have been digital miracles.
Now, let's move on to one of the strangest cases of suppressed technology, Viktor Rybnikov and his alleged anti-gravity device from the 1980s.
Rybnikov, a Russian entomologist, discovered something unusual while studying insect wings.
He claimed that some beetles have microscopic structures that interact with electromagnetic forces in ways that science could not explain. Inspired by nature, Rybnikov built a device that he said could achieve anti-gravity flight.
According to Grinkov, the platform was silent, fast, and seemingly immune to inertia.
He described hovering over fields and villages as witnessing strange distortions in time and space. However, there is no physical evidence of the device. Skeptics dismiss Grinkov as a visionary, but his detailed observations, plans, and studies of insects raise questions. Could he have been using a natural form of anti-gravity technology? If so, why was his work ignored or rejected? Some believe that his discoveries were quietly hidden by those who feared the consequences of free flight.
If Grinkov was right, his platform could have rewritten not just the laws of physics, but also the way we move through the world.
Now, let's return to Nikola Tesla, the man who was far ahead of his time, with inventions that seemed almost unbelievable.
Among his most famous claims was the development of the death ray, a particle beam weapon capable of destroying targets hundreds of kilometers away.
Tesla called it the Teleforce and described it as a defensive weapon capable of ending all wars. But the world was not ready to believe him.
In 1905, Tesla revealed that he had mastered the concept, but struggled to find backers.
After his death in 1943, the US government seized all of his notes and research. Officially, the death ray never existed, but strange experiments continued during and after World War II, with reports of secret projects hinting at particle beams and directed energy weapons. Some believe Tesla's research was classified, while others think it was lost forever.
But Tesla was not the only one. Other inventors claim to have explored similar concepts.
Did Tesla crack the code for a weapon that could permanently reshape geopolitics, or was his genius seen as a threat to the fragile balance of power, necessitating its eradication? But what happens when science goes beyond the material world? When inventors claim they can communicate with the dead? This is precisely what Thomas Edison was trying to achieve. Edison, the man who invented the light bulb and the phonograph, had another invention up his sleeve, a device capable of talking to the dead. In the 1920s, with the rise of spiritualism, Edison became fascinated with the idea of communicating with spirits.
Unlike SENCs and Ouija boards, Edison approached the idea scientifically.
He believed the human body was made up of small life units that continue after death, and if they exist, why can't we detect them? Thus, he began developing the spirit phone, a device designed to detect and amplify the faint signals of spirits. While Edison was eager to share his work, he spoke about the spirit phone in interviews, claiming it was near completion. But then, nothing happened. After his death in 1931, the device disappeared.
Was it incomplete? Or did Edison create something so strange that he had to hide it?
Skeptics dismiss the spirit phone as a myth, but believers argue that those who feared its consequences hid it.
In the 1970s, Pauling's research showed that vitamin C therapy improved outcomes for terminal cancer patients, a claim that shocked the medical world.
But Pauling's work was met with ridicule.
Pharmaceutical companies and mainstream medicine fought it vehemently.
If vitamin C, cheap and widely available, could fight cancer, what would happen to the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry?
Clinical studies emerged that seemingly disproved his work, and Pauling's reputation as a scientist was damaged.
However, many independent researchers and patients still swear by the importance of vitamin C treatment. Recent studies indicate its potential.
Was Pauling on the verge of a revolutionary discovery, or was his work buried to protect the status quo of profit-driven healthcare?
The debate rages on, reminding us that the simplest treatments can sometimes be the hardest to accept. That's all for today. Write in the comments which invention impressed you the most. And for more useful information, watch other videos.